TNT, that's Brendan Haywood, 3D Dennis Scott. I'm Matt Weiner. You're you. Good to have you with us. Thanks for sticking it out.
Yeah.
Wow, a 20-point blowout that wasn't even that close. In fact, the two most relevant stories from this game right now, aside from the outcome, were the first quarter scuffle that led to the ejection of Benedict Mathurin after a sucker punch, but maybe not a real punch. Whatever it was,
it was close. That's what. If it had been that way,
that's the rule. But it didn't feel like a full-on punch.
It wasn't to the law, man. He didn't wind up and really cock back and punch.
Right.
It was one of those.
He did hit him in the chest because you could see Hunter's reaction, and he didn't see it coming. That's not a flop. That's a reaction.
Correct.
Because he popped him in the chest.
Right. And to our fans, while DeAndre Hunter's pointed at his temples, that he retaliated with the push with two hands versus if his hands would have been closed, he would have been ejected as well.
Right. You got a foul, you got an ejection, you got a technical foul. But I was about to say that was the one most interesting thing. The second, of course, is the mystery injury that Donovan Mitchell apparently suffered that kept him out the entirety of the second half. And you've probably seen the video by now, but he played the entire first half. Well, not the entire first half. He played the first half, didn't leave the game with any apparent injury, came out to warm up for the third quarter, suddenly felt something and apparently couldn't put weight on his left foot. The Cavaliers described it as a left ankle injury, and he was done for the night and status unknown moving forward. And there's no reason to speculate. We have no idea what happened to him, but it's just another subplot in a horrible night if you're a Cavaliers fan.
It's just been a horrible series for the Cavaliers as far as from an injury standpoint. You start the season out, to start the series out, there's no Garland. Then Mobley misses time. Now we don't know what the health of Donovan Mitchell is. He was been the consistent for the Cavs throughout in this series, and now we don't know what his availability will be for a very important game for the Cleveland Cavaliers, obviously in Cleveland, down 3-1. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out.
Just a catastrophic evening in Indianapolis. Maybe Kenny Atkinson has an update on Mitchell's condition. He's at the podium in Indy.
Here we go. Got it right. Here we go.
What can you tell us about Donovan?
Left ankle injury. He'll get a MRI tomorrow.
So obviously there's just not much more you can say as far as availability.
No idea. Obviously he couldn't go in the second half. So see what the MRI says.
And I imagine this would be one of those games where you don't watch much of the film. But what happened in the first half that he just got away from?
Complete domination by them. It's kind of the story, kind of in every facet. It wasn't like, tactics or anything involved. They dominated us in every facet of the game, and that's why we got a 20-point game or really 30-point game.
Kenny, how did Donovan hurt his ankle?
I am not exactly sure.
And then we've talked about force, and that, I think, is kind of what you're getting at with the first half wasn't there. Why did you think you guys didn't have that tonight?
They dominated with their force. They raised their game to another level, and we didn't match it. We talked about it. We knew it was coming. I don't know. You try to prepare for these things. You try to prepare your guys mentally, but for whatever reason, they like I said, they were at another level. Their force was greater in every sense. There wasn't like, this aspect or rebound. I thought it was rebounding. Physicality. We were running our offense at half court. They had us pushed out. Couldn't get to our spots. It was really kind of physical domination.
What was the message going into halftime? Obviously, it's a shell-shocking feeling.
Listen, I try to turn positive. Let's, pride, compete, composure, because I didn't want it to be about the referees. It's not about that. So one of our guys to keep our composure, compete with class, right? And then, stay together. That was basically the message.
And on the positive note, DG definitely found a little bit of a rhythm there.
Yeah, it was good.
Is that something that can carry over?
Yeah, obviously, a few guys, got minutes that they normally didn't get to. Ice looked good there. So, hey, listen, we got 2 out of the 3 next games at home. If we're great at home. Got to get the next one, see if we can come back here for Game 6.
Yeah, talking about Darius for a minute, I guess I was wondering with the score being what it was at half, I thought with the toe, maybe he doesn't play the second half, but you play him and he ends up with 21. So.
Yeah, I asked him, I said, you tell me, like, we got to think about, Game 5, and he wanted to get his rhythm, which I completely understand. I think he felt better. I thought he was moving better. So that's a real positive. Hopefully we get Donovan back. Like I said, you go get Game 5, and you're back here for Game 6.
What did you think of everything that happened with Mathurin and Hunter? And
listen, I just that's not why I'm in this league. I'm not in it for the fights and the pushing and the punches. I just don't think it. I love that, about the, if that's the direction it goes. I was just telling our guys, keep our composure. You got to be above. You get punched, you got to be above, right? You got to kind of turn the other cheek. I told Dre, I said, Dre, you don't react. It's hard, but they obviously came out with an intent, a physicality intent, and but I did, for the most part, Joe. I think we kept our composure, but. Listen, this is like Dan said. This is a game about force, and they were just much more forceful in every aspect.
Anything else?
All right, thanks so much.
Be the emphasis to start the game.
I'm telling you, when we got ripped, bull. Like that's just, that's what it's about. At this point in the year, you work so hard to get here, or you work so hard to get a stop, and you give them a free shot. So we knew that was the emphasis. Still going to be the emphasis going forward, and yeah, man, we got to get one more.
Well, you've got one more. You got another opportunity here in 2 days to get back-to-back Eastern Conference Finals. What's it going to take now to close this team out on the road?
Stay focused. Don't believe the hype. Keep rolling, man. We love that people are talking about us now. Finally giving us our respect, but we got to still go and take the respect.
Lord
Okay.
have mercy.
I mean, it was kind of like that before he got hurt or got ejected. But point taken. This is not the dream team. This is the 2025 Indiana Pacers. You've heard the word force a lot already in the aftermath of this Game 4 win. This is not a strategy thing, right? This is not a Kenny Atkinson going to the chalkboard or the whiteboard and saying, okay, we need to do this differently and this differently. What can you do to correct what is by the Cavaliers tonight?
First of all, after a loss like this, you just pack it up, you leave the locker room, say, guys, we'll see you in film for tomorrow. You get to the film session, and you challenge everybody in there. And you say, what do you have? This isn't good enough.
Hello, xin chào tất cả các bạn. Lại là mình đây. Mình sẽ gửi đến các bạn những sản phẩm cắt dán đẹp hơn mỗi ngày. Những sản phẩm tuyệt vời. Đấy, cốc trà sữa này. Đây, trên tay của mình đây là keo dán giấy này các bạn ạ. Và để tạo ra được những sản phẩm để tạo ra được những video cắt dán đẹp như thế này thì mình sẽ cần có những dụng cụ, những đồ vật để mình tạo nên. Đây, trước mặt của mình đây, trên tay mình đang cầm đây là những giấy thủ công màu các bạn ạ. Nó rất nhiều màu sắc luôn, các bạn có nhìn thấy màu sắc của nó. Đấy. Trên tay của mình đây cầm đây màu xanh này, màu xanh là lá cây, màu vàng này các bạn ạ. Đây là màu đỏ. Đấy. Giấy màu cam này, giấy màu xanh này. Đấy. Mình rất nhiều những sản phẩm màu sắc. Đấy. Và để tạo ra được những sản phẩm đẹp và ý nghĩa thì mình cần có một cây bút và chiếc kéo này, kéo để cắt này, hồ dán thì để dán những sản phẩm vào với nhau để cho nó đa dạng màu sắc, tạo nên điểm nhấn cho sản phẩm. Và còn những dụng cụ bổ trợ cho mình như là đây là chiếc chân kẹp điện thoại này, chân kẹp điện thoại, đây là chiếc điện thoại để mình quay lại quá trình mình tạo ra video, đèn hỗ trợ ánh sáng này các bạn này, đèn hỗ trợ ánh sáng. Và kênh của mình thì cũng rất may mắn đã nhận được nút bạc từ YouTube các bạn này. Chiếc nút bạc này mình cũng đã nhận được quãng thời gian gần đây rồi.